Funding for this program is provided in part by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.
Our Town, the show about Rochester, learns about the history of racial covenants and redlining in the city, and we catch up with a local artist who just finished working on a historic street mural in downtown Rochester. We also check out the garden, the skate park, and coffee shop, and we visit an innovative home committed to sustainability. All that and more coming up next on Our Town, the show about Rochester. Coming to you from 125 Live in Rochester, Minnesota, Our Town. We are joined today by local artist Tierney Parker, here to tell us more about her work and a historic new street mural she designed in downtown Rochester. Welcome to Our Town, Tierney.
Hello.
So excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about you and your work as an artist?
Yeah, so I just recently moved back to Minnesota. I've been back now for 2 years. I'm a self-taught artist. I like to consider myself a mixed media artist. I use a little bit of everything. Fabric, clay. I'm really into acrylic painting right now, though. That's primarily what I've been doing. But I really just paint what I feel. My biggest goal, I guess, with my art is to make people have like uncomfy conversations. I like when people see my art and they're like, why? Let's talk about it. That's like my favorite thing. That's really, really my goal. And it's just been fun. It's been fun getting to create and do what I like to do and not necessarily having timelines or borders that I have to stay within. It's just been me unapologetically, and that's been really, really fun.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Last year, you talked about wanting your work to be a space for some of those conversations. Last year, you had an exhibition right here at 125 Live. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit about that event and the impact that it had on you as an artist and as a person?
It was amazing. There was 3 or 4 other artists, and again, it was no like requirements, no we need it to be this or that, and I really just got to do what I wanted and show what I wanted, and we had the artist reception here, and it was nerve-wracking at first. I was so nervous about what the public's perception of some very vulnerable pieces that I made were going to be, and instead I was like pleasantly surprised. It was so like welcoming, and people were talking about it. We got to sit in front of our art piece, and I sat in front of one that was a little controversial at first. It had some tough topics about growing up biracial and my personal opinions and feelings about it. And that one was the one that everybody wanted to talk about and had questions, and we engaged, and I cried, some of them cried. My kids got to come and see it. My husband was there. It was very, very beautiful, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. It was amazing.
Sounds like a really powerful and also healing experience on both ends of that.
Yes.
I'm very excited about this, but you just finished up a street mural as part of a larger mural arts program in the city. What inspired your design, and what does the Avalon's history mean to you?
So what inspired my design was digging into the history of the Avalon, Mr. Manning and all of the amazing people that stayed there and the sense of community to people in that time. It was put into the Green Book in 1948. It opened a couple years before that. I'm not very good on my timelines specifically, but he is what I feel like inspired so much hope in a time that a lot of people felt hopeless. And so I think that we can kind of relate to that still now, some of us, and just our daily lives and the things that are going on. And so when Threshold gave me the opportunity to do the mural in front of the Avalon, I immediately wanted to share that hope. And so that's why I chose the color schemes that I did to represent the Green Book. And to me, it just also represents growth and change. And that's what I think us as a community are doing and working towards within art and business and everything we do here in Rochester as a community. And I just hope that everybody enjoys it as much as I enjoyed making it. It was so, so fun. I think the Avalon is such an amazing, amazing space. I can't wait to see what it can turn into later. I think it's something that everybody should dig a little deeper into. If you don't know about it, ask somebody, Google it, let's talk about it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it's such a powerful space historically, being one of the first Black-owned businesses, Black spaces in the city, and your role in being able to preserve that. Yeah. As we're wrapping up here, how do you think that the community can continue to support artists, and specifically artists of color?
I think listening. Honestly, a lot of people can't get past their own opinions about things, and if they just actually took the time to listen and genuinely hear what people of color and different ethnicities and backgrounds are saying, and then give them the opportunity to share their stories, it would be amazing and beautiful, and we can all learn from each other. So we just all have to come from a place of understanding, and hopefully that will bring us more together in art and as a community. Yeah,
wonderful. Thank you so much, Tierney, and we look forward to following more of your work in the community.
Thank you.
Be sure to stick around. We have much more coming your way on Our Town. We visit a home designed around environmental sustainability. We also learn about the history of redlining and racial covenants in the city. But up first, we hop on a skateboard as we check out a skate park and coffee shop in this week's Our Culture segment.
My name is Laura Kramer, and I'm the owner of the Garden Skate Park and Coffee Shop. This is an indoor skate park, as you can see, and we also have a coffee shop and skate shop. My son has been skating for, I think, 3-4 years, and it all started, I was taking him to the Silver Lake Skate Park, and watching him skate there, seeing all the other skaters, and then realizing that we live in Minnesota and there's really nowhere to go to skate as soon as the weather hits. So my husband and I started concocting a plan to open an indoor skate park. I'm personally passionate about health, so that's definitely fed into what we did in the coffee shop over there. I've done my best to pick healthier options for food. All of our coffee is organic, all of our syrups are organic, our smoothies are as well. And then just the food options in general in our drinks, I've just really done my best to keep it clean. The kids come in all the time and I prefer to have healthier options. We've had some concerts here, we've hosted a competition. You can have your business meetings over in the coffee shop. We have birthday parties. Our park is open to all ages. We have, I think, a skater that is as young as 4 taking lessons. We hosted a reunion party for the YMCA skate team. They skated back in the 70s, so the 3 of them are still skating at 60 years old, so really it is a sport for all ages. We hosted a mural competition when we were opening, and then the public got to pick what went up on the walls, and then we had some local artists come and do the design and put up all of our murals. Our ramp designer, his name is Trog, that's his nickname. He really did design the place so that it's good for all ages. You can come in as a beginner and feel comfortable in here. We have a skate team that also does lessons. You can skate, rollerblades, scooter. You can just run and slide down the ramps. We have some morning sessions for the little kids after you drop your big kids off at school. The little kindergarten and underages can come in and they'll just run around on all the ramps and slide down and just have a good time. It's really fun to just slide on the ramps. I've done it myself. The skate community is a really tight-knit community, so as soon as you hear about a skate park opening up, they kind of automatically know everywhere. Drawing in the public is a different thing, but the skate community, they knew instantly. We tried to involve them from the very beginning. When this was just a shell, we invited the skaters of Rochester to come in and to just take a look to see what was going to happen. And then to get their input on things because they're the ones that we're catering to. We want this to be a place for the skaters. I love it. They're the best people I've ever met. I'm so happy that we've done this. The people that come in here are the best customers. They're just happy that they have a place. I've never met anyone like them. They are part of a team. They want to help. They're just wonderful people. So yeah, I'm really happy that we did this.
For more information about this story and other Our Town features, connect with us on Facebook, Twitter at KSMQ #OurTown, or ksmq.org/ourtown.
Hi, this is Danielle Teal with Our Town Spotlight. I'm excited for our guest today. I've actually collaborated with her before, and we are going to talk about her amazing company, Dina Abo. Sheasha, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Danielle.
And share a little bit about your company, Curve.
Yes, so Curve is a marketing agency. We provide tailored solutions to businesses. We work with many variety of industries in healthcare, education, nonprofit organizations, and many more to help them connect with their target audience and really provide a service, whether it is social media management, branding, website support for these clients.
And that's perfect because the collaboration I mentioned was the Rochester Downtown Awareness Campaign to get people downtown, during the pandemic in a safe way. And then after the pandemic, my daughter was included in that campaign. So share a little bit about some of the clients you've helped.
So we have, and every client is a different journey and different needs and different target audience. We worked with Rochester Montessori School. We did their website. Rochester Women Magazine. We're still working with these. It's a relationship with these companies. It's a relationship that keeps going, and they come back for even more services like branding. So Rochester Women Magazine, ComCare, healthcare organizations. So really, the reason why I started this company is I found out that there is a need in the market where, if you are a chef, for example, you might be really good at what you do and, providing the product, but you need guidance with the marketing needs, and this is where we come in. We analyze the market, we analyze that we understand the target audience, what appeals to them, so we can create messaging and visuals that really connect with them so they can buy.
And that's a perfect example of this ongoing relationship that you do have. Like Rochester Women Magazine, they just opened up a department around parenting. And I know that much of your content and creation is incredible. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yes, the new department, we're so excited about it. Parenting is a really, and personal to me also as a mom of 3. We manage their website. Acacia is the one who really creates the content for everything, and they provide it to them. We make those visuals, they have a vision, and we make it into reality for them in the website. That's perfect.
Yeah. Where can people find out more information and what kind of services are offered?
Yes, the best way to find us is our website, and the services is, whether it's actually sometimes I sit down with the clients and I understand what they need, what the goal is, and I provide the services, the solutions. So social media management, website design, advertising, marketing campaigns actually. So that's what we provide. And
thank you so much, Dina. We appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah, you're welcome.
This is Danielle Teal with Our Town Spotlight.
Hello again, this is Michael Wojcik with your Our Town Rundown. Now last week I said it was our last episode of the season. I'm sitting here, so maybe that wasn't the case. That said, it's like my parents taught me when I was young, measure once, cut twice, something like that. I don't know, I wasn't really paying attention, but we've got a lot more to talk about with what's going on in Rochester. Last week I mentioned you might want to get your tickets early for Mayo High School's production of their annual musical, and was really cool. It actually sold out before it even opened up this time, so great job Rochester coming out and supporting our youth. And there's a lot of things you can come out and support in the community. High school sports are going on. It's going to be basketball and hockey season over the winter. There's a lot of arts going on in the community. Anytime you show up and support kids in our community, you're building a stronger community, you're showing these kids support, and they really do appreciate it. Also, we have 100+ parks that are available all winter long. We don't close down for the winter, and that's really cool. There are options for biking, hiking, walking, snowshoeing, and even cross-country skiing in our parks. It's a fantastic time to get out and enjoy our parks in the winter. There's nothing quite as beautiful as fresh fallen snow in the park as you go through on a quiet morning. Now, those of you who watched last week, we ran through a lot of different items that we covered, but there's more things that you can do on a regular basis. And today I really want to highlight some of the live music opportunities that are going on to support our local artists. The Chateau Theatre, Rochester Civic Theatre, and Mayo Civic Center are well known for putting on a number of productions. But beyond that, there's live music every Saturday at the Well downtown. Every single Wednesday through Saturday evening, the Redwood Room has music going on. Thesis has Wednesday residencies, and it's a fantastic place to hear music. Little Thistle does Sunday matinee concerts. 125 Live does morning concerts on Friday morning. Forager even does music almost every Tuesday through Saturday, and sometimes jazz jams on Sunday. And Kinney Creek is even doing music 2 times a month. This is a fantastic opportunity to come out, support one of our local venues, support local musicians, and help get through this winter together. This has been Michael Wojcik. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Hi, this is Danielle Teal with Our Town Walkabout. We're at Northwest Rochester checking out some solar panels and sustainability. Hi, Ivan.
Hi.
Hi, I'm so excited to learn a little bit more about the solar panels, the efficiency gains from that. Can you share a little bit about why you got started, why it's so important?
Right. Well, I mean, my wife and I, we have several children and grandchildren, so this is something that's important to us. In addition, when we built this house, we were keeping in mind that, this is going to be our retirement home. So we wanted to have low energy bills so that we weren't priced out of our home eventually. We wanted something that's comfortable. We have 4.7 kilowatts of solar up on the roof. We use passive solar gain. So our windows here are made to let the heat, the sun in the wintertime, and then we have concrete floors to take up that heat. So we don't have to, and if it's sunny outside, we don't have to heat our house during the day.
It just retains it.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it'll get 78 degrees in there with...
And it's 20 degrees outside.
Right, minus 20.
Minus
Yes,
20.
Minus 20.
You talked about how you put the solar panels up and you needed to build an overhang, and it's a green roof.
We need something to block the sun in the summertime. Otherwise we get all this excess heat, so we don't want that. So you want to build an overhang that's the right size so that it blocks that sun in the summertime, but it allows it in the wintertime when we want it. So we wanted to do something that was a little fun, so we put a green roof up on top of there. It's how we built the house. It's very well, we have 12-inch thick walls. It's all electric. We want to use it as kind of a, a showcase.
Yeah.
And hopefully inspire more people to invest in these technologies.
That's really incredible, Ivan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is Danielle Teal with Our Town Walkabout.
Redlining and racial covenants are 2 of the practices that enforced racial segregation in the United States, both within and outside states that had Jim Crow laws. The Education Committee of the Rochester branch of the NAACP coordinated a team of volunteers who researched Olmsted County property records. Here to tell us more about the local findings and history here in Rochester is Phil Wheeler, who's been working closely on this project. Welcome to Our Town, Phil.
Thank you.
So before we start talking a little bit more about our local history, I'd love to hear a little bit from you about how we define racial covenants and redlining.
Well, redlining is a practice that limited mortgage availability, especially conventional mortgage availability, in areas that were considered to be high risk. And every area that had any population of people of color was considered to be high risk. Racial covenants were a private practice, a codicil on a deed that said you cannot, this property cannot be occupied, rented, owned, or otherwise by different people, different classes of people. The first one in the United States was in the 1840s in Massachusetts, and it prohibited occupancy by by African Americans and Irish. California had a bunch of racial covenants related to people of Chinese or Asian birth. They came to Minnesota, apparently, as far as we know, the first one was in 1910 in Minneapolis. The first one in Rochester was in 1915.
Can you walk us a little bit through that specific history of racial covenants here in Rochester?
Well, again, the first one was in 1915. It was located on 11th Avenue Southeast, south of Center Street. That was applied at the time of the subdivision plat approval. We have at least had racial covenants on plats through the 1940s. They became illegal in Minnesota in 1953, so we haven't found any more recent than that. So when they were imposed at the time of a subdivision plat, they were accompanied by advertising. We had a group of high school students working through Christopher Carter, one of the volunteers on the mapping project, to identify ads that advertise racial covenants as being a desirable feature. We also had another category called retroactive, we call them retroactive, where properties that were subdivided in the 1850s, sometime in the 1930s, for example, large areas of these old neighborhoods had racial covenants applied to them by, in one case, 90+ people signing, agreeing to a racial covenant. Of some kind. Yeah. So, all told, we have 1,024 properties that we've identified so far. The ones we haven't identified may be equally as numerous, but they're much harder to find because they're not at the plat level. Rochester is not the only place that had them. There still has them. The other community that we found 3 plats in 3 subdivisions is Orinoco. All 3 of the subdivisions that but what used to be called Lake Shady, the marshy spot formerly known as Lake Shady, have racial covenants on them.
We know that things like redlining and racial covenants have a lasting impact and a lasting legacy. Can you tell us just a little bit about that? You mentioned a little bit about how we see that in the wealth gap today. Yeah. And then also, what are some of the current practices that we're seeing in our residential housing that are discriminatory?
Well, first impact is the wealth gap, and the wealth gap has all sorts of implications. One is student debt is much, much higher among African Americans and other people of color than it is among the white population because there's less generational wealth. Home ownership is a major source of generational wealth. And because it impacts things like education, it also impacts income. The home ownership gap in Olmsted County is 56%. So roughly 20-some% of African Americans own their own home, as compared to almost 80% of white citizens here. And as far as things that perpetuate this, is if we don't have, if we continue to have exclusive neighborhoods based on characteristics like lot size and housing cost, then we perpetuate racial discrimination or racial segregation, because if we have a wealth gap and an income gap, we have neighborhoods that don't have any houses affordable to that segment of the population, then we have encouraged, we've accommodated racial segregation.
As we're wrapping up here in the last few seconds, can you tell us how community members can learn more about this project, about their own property, if they have questions?
Well, first of all, we are coordinating with the City of Rochester Attorney's Office, and they are embarking on a project called Just Deeds. and they will, with pro bono attorney help and hopefully free recording at the county property records, discharging the racial covenant. Remains on the books, but you'll add a codicil that says we renounce this. In connection with that, we've had a sign competition with 53 students at Mayo High School, encouraged by Chris Carter and taught by Tanya Oy, who designed signs to put in people's yards once they discharged their covenant. We picked a winner last November 4th.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Phil, for joining us and for sharing a little bit about this history.
All right.
And thank you all for joining us today. I hope you learned as much as I did today about all that's going on in our city and the wonderful people making it happen. For more great content produced right here in Rochester, please be sure to check us out on Facebook and Twitter at #OurTown. I'm Nicole Fenoy-Amhara, host of Our Town, the show about Rochester, and I will see you next time.
Funding for this program is provided in part by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.